Chapter 23, Crossing the Tipping Point into Critical Mass. The term critical mass was generally thought to be coined during the time of the creation of the atomic bomb. This term was used to define the point at which one last segment of matter would push the threshold and you would have a nuclear reaction. In our first book, we alluded to this point of critical mass when we spoke of the power of oneness that would be coming forth as the sons enter into these next levels of change, as discussed in our book, The Manifestation of the Sons of God, Section 6, page 138. This oneness concerns the unleashing of a power that we've only read about and is far beyond what the church world has known as agreement. This which we speak of is based upon the Spirit and not the soul. This term, critical mass, best describes the time in the earth to which we have now come. You can liken this to the final stages of the birthing of a child, for there comes that time when the baby's head begins to crown. That is critical mass, and this is what is unfolding right now. For the past couple of years, the word has been coming at an increased rate, expressing an urgency that it is time for the sons of God to manifest. We have known for some time that we were approaching a point in which we would see many doors close. Not begin to close, but close. The doors have been in the process of closing for this past decade, and yet people have not been aware of the critical time in the earth in which they're walking. What type of door are we speaking? The grace to become, a door open to see the transformation of the sons, the time of the wise and foolish virgins. Those who have been called to sonship have not been that aware of the time of his visitation upon the earth. There's been a spirit of slumber in the land. The wise and foolish virgins, the foolish have fallen asleep, lulled by the world they once separated themselves from. We have stepped beyond what we would call a tipping point. We have stepped beyond critical mass. The events now unfolding are out of the control of the powers of this age. They are unfolding as one domino after another begins to fall. The Nephilim and the dark ones in the earth may scramble to grab the reins on what they see perishing about them, but it's too late. They have sat in the heavens and scoffed at the Lord. They have laughed in derision, for they thought God would never bring retribution or judgment upon them. But it has come, and the process of exponential acceleration has begun. We have stepped across a threshold, and there is no turning back to what we have known of life on this planet ever again. Daniel 2:34 and 35, you continued looking until a stone was cut up without hands, and it struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and crushed them. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were crushed all at the same time, and became like chaff from the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away so that not a trace of them was found. But the stone that struck the statue became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. We will begin to find implosion after implosion of the realities that we have seen about us. Governments, political systems, economies, geophysical changes, nothing will be the same and nothing will be left untouched, for the stone cut out of the mountain has hit the image at its feet. Daniel 2:34. It has begun to crumble. Look about you. It will only continue to descend into further chaos. The monetary system as we know it will fail, and the order and structure that has been so carefully put in place by the Nephilim will fail. The only solution is to become the sons of God, fulfilling your destiny. It is about His Lordship. It's always been about His absolute Lordship, first over your life and then over this age. But it first had to be established within His people, His absolute Lordship and dominion in their life. As Malachi spoke, He draws near for judgment, the purifying work of His Spirit within His people. Then He draws near to bring a swift judgment in the earth. What does it really mean? It means that with every breath you take, every step you make, you will continue to bring a shift in the spirit world, for the balance of power is changing. The Lord of Lords and the King of Kings is here to complete the job through the sons. Now is the time for subjection, for every kingdom shall be subjected to him. It is the principle of the pebble cast into the water, for every change which happens now within his sons continues to radiate out, changing every level of existence. This has been the path, and this is the path. You will continue to experience a greater connection through the veil with all of God's creation, for God is bringing with him those who were asleep. 1 Thessalonians 4:14-17. God is not so much descending with a trumpet, as the sons are rising in their vibration into his presence. It is in his presence that you will find more and more connection with those who have died in the faith and are hovering about you now, anticipating their change into resurrection life. There has always been that question, how soon can we get it? The answer is that it's right here knocking at your door. The time of resurrection life and the changes into the fullness of sonship are here. They are knocking on the door. Psalms 34:5, they looked to him and were radiant, and their faces will never be ashamed. Isaiah 60:4-5, lift up your eyes round about you and see. They all gather together, they come to you. Your sons will come from afar, and your daughters will be carried in the arms. Then you will see and be radiant, and your heart will thrill and rejoice. It is time to see and become radiant. It is time to fulfill Isaiah's prophecy. We have crossed the tipping point. It is time for the sons of God to manifest.